And so conducting Know Your Rights workshops and making sure people started to get an understanding of what their rights are in various situations and or encounters with the police, what they don't have to say, what they don't have to do if the FBI knocks on your door. That kind of stuff is training that we not only provide but get and that we've tried to step up a little bit more because of the activities of trying to stop Cop City directly, knowing that, again, even in the recent past, the FBI has visited the parents and different people who've been involved in trying to stop Cop City. So, and they've been using it as scare tactics, but still, they've been trying to do that. And we have still don't know whether or not, because the FBI has been involved, whether or not they're going to try to have some federal charges against folks in terms of some sort of state terrorism or domestic terrorism type of situation. And so we also, we're developing our own, as in CMB, security apparatus that again that are training in defense mechanisms around protecting marches and demonstrations, security for the organization. All those things are part of what we try to develop, again, within our community or our community organization, but also what we work with in terms of other groups and so forth. So we by no means think we have the power, right, to stop the police in terms of the military hardware that they have at hand at this particular time. But if we are not prepared to do what we can to not only defend what we have, but to also protect what we have from the lies and the stories and the disinformation and the criminalization of the police, we will always lose. And so we try to operate on those themes, that we need to make sure that we can protect our folks, our people, that we give them the information that they need, that we try to train them up. And sometimes I don't think we're always successful in having people understand that, like, when you become an organizer and an activist, when you're trying to say you're going up against the state, there is serious repercussions, right? People sometimes take this work as a joke. They don't take it seriously. They think it's a game. They think you can drop in and out. They're not as committed. But the state is committed against stopping organizers from having any foothold or say in what happens in terms of what public policy is, anything real around public policy, around challenging their authority. They are very serious about that. They're very serious about watching organizers and activists, even when they're at sort of a small level, right? As we've seen the documents from COINTELPRO over and over again, it's the most minute and details of everything from organizers to entertainers to meetings that people don't remember they went to themselves. I have 5 people, and one of those 5 people was an FBI agent, or one of those 5 people was an informant. Because while you're not taking yourself seriously, the authorities of both the federal, state, and local are definitely taking you seriously, because they don't want any disruption whatsoever in their plans to take over and to continue to control not only the narrative about what's taking place, but the resources, and to distribute those resources as they see fit. One of the big things we talked about when Cop City first started was they did not want this to be public. They did not want people to know about this, that this facility was being built. It was only because we found out and we made it a public issue that it's become what it is. They did not. They thought they were going to be smooth sailing. They were going to just put this in. They were just going to get this done, and that there was not going to be any disagreement or any dissent around it. But right away we started saying, like, this is crazy that these kind of resources are going to be used to build this kind of training, in coming right out of an uprising that talked about militarized police and the police killing our people and killing folks in our communities and not being answerable to any kind of justice for that. And that this is what the so-called Black leadership of Atlanta decided to do. They decided to put forth a Cop City idea to, again, reward and award the cops and make them feel better. And they'd expected no backlash because they didn't want anybody to know about it. And again, any survey that's been done, over 70% of people here in Atlanta have said they are opposed to this idea, but it has not stopped them from going forth with it. What instead they've done is get their military arm and apparatus up and working to criminalize dissent. And now to kill somebody who's basically in the force and create a narrative that suggests that this person was firing at the police and then the police had to fire back. They literally said they gave a warning And after they gave a warning, that person decided to shoot a
Right.
single bullet,
That just
a single bullet, and then they shot back and killed the person.
mm-mm.
Again, we're waiting for, we don't know how many times this person was shot, where they were shot, the trajectory of the bullets. We don't know if this was friendly fire that in which the cop was shot. We have no idea. All we have is their narrative. And again, the corporate media is doing their job of running with that narrative because that's their role. Their role is to protect the interests of the folks who protect their interest. I'm sorry I went a little off, but that's
I don't think you
Oh,
went off at all.
I don't. I agree. You did not go off. You went exactly where we needed to. We needed you to go because I really feel like y'all that number one, being in organizations, we have not taken security sometimes as seriously as we need to. I think. I think that's just one thing that I've been thinking about for a while. But then, like the other thing, when you were talking, Kamau, about how the state is deadly serious about us organizing, no matter how big or small our organizing efforts are. And I mean, do you think that the show of force, aside from that's just how fascists are, but the show of force against protesters all the time, not just in Atlanta, but just in general, is an indication of how much of a threat we really are to them. And do you think we just don't get that? I mean, it's not if they didn't think, because I always think of like January 6th, like the reason the cops did not show up at the US Capitol the way they showed up at the uprisings against George Floyd, uprisings against the public lynching of George Floyd, and treated those folks on January 6th the way they treated us, is because they really did not look at those people. Those people weren't a threat, even though they were clearly breaking the law, committing crimes, property damage, all this kind of stuff, threatening lawmakers' lives, but they did not see them as a threat to their fascist order, the status quo. But us, we organizers, if it's two of us out there, you know, protesting, we are seen as a threat because, oh my God, what if these two people can convince two more that there's something wrong with this system? We got to stop that shit. And I've always looked at it that way, that a part of the reason the response from the state is always so brutal is because the state is terrified of organizing and that one day it'll actually work.